keeping in the spirit of Memorial Day weekend here, I just finished my latest book, Among Heroes, about my 8 friends that I lost since 9/11. I'm personally reflecting on what Memorial Day means to me, and really, I'll kick it off, and I want to hear from the rest of you guys. But I think about us at war for 13 years, and we're at this global war on terror that it seems like JSOC has become one of the finest fighting units that this world has ever seen. However, it's a very the situation is that it's part of the solution, right? We're just in this never endless whack-a-mole war on terror without addressing the core issue of how do we eliminate this radical fundamentalist view of Islam, and it's a global problem, right? Like, if we don't address that, we're at war with Al Qaeda in 2001, and guess what? Al Qaeda is still on the State Department's terror list. Now we're at war with ISIS. It's like it just keeps on coming up, and we're putting forward some of the most talented men and women that this generation has ever produced.
Our gene pool is
they're giving their lives. And I look at my friends like, what are we doing to make the world a better place? And so, that's kind of what I'm thinking of this Memorial Day, is like, literally, what can we do as Americans? Forget the political viewpoint, but it just seems like we owe it to our fallen brothers to really not have them, I don't want to think of their deaths in vain that way, but I want to hear from you guys. Like, what do you think?
If we look at the problems politically that we're facing now, as far as the last few years of conflict we've had, since we even got into this conflict, we're looking at 2 different changes of flags. We go from a conservative presidency to a liberal presidency, all under the same conflict with the same issues. I would love to see us stop flip-flopping. Like, if we address an issue and answer this issue with violence and aggression and violence of aggression, we know that's how we win wars. Okay, it's war. It's not something that we want to sit back and throw money at, throw soccer balls at, throw funding at, and want to hug everyone in the world. At the end of the day, they want to kill us, and you know what? We're not going to allow them to. We're going to fucking kill them before they kill us. I mean, until the day is over. I think that's the attitude we need to adopt.
And we're not committing to stomping it out.
I'm not trying to annihilate
putting out
every
a brush fire here, a brush fire there, but stomp it out.
I will say this, and each one of us here can attest to that have been overseas to these countries. I will say this: I've met so many Muslim families and people that I've grown to love and appreciate because they've shown us so much hospitality, so much consideration while we're overseas, and we got to see the humanity within them. And we know this is not something we need to snuff out.
Well, Americans need to understand that it's not about the Muslims.
It's not about the religion.
It's about the extremists.
No, let me tell you. Here's the truth. It's not even about the fundamental Islamic Mohammedanism movement. It's a global movement. Here's the biggest threat that we have: national security and foreign policy-wise, and it's an insult to all the people who've served and lost their lives for this country and lost parts of their bodies. This is the truth. Our biggest national security threat are bad policies and incompetent politicians. They do not have strategic plans to fight an enemy, and they don't think things through all the way. They fight battles like where they send JSOC in to go in and take out the CFO of ISIS, but they do nothing to stop the flow of the global movement of Islamic extremism.
There's no plan. There's no clear
plan. So you have, at the same time they're trying to double down on ISIS, you have Iran, and they're having negotiations which are completely made up for nuclear weapons so that this administration can look like they're really doing something, when the reality is they're going to get it regardless unless we go in and take them out. So the fact is, the Republican and Democratic parties are a 2-party system that's broken.
When you look at the situation, like when you put it out, so you have Bush, Clinton, Obama, probably. Actually, wait. Let me back up. Bush, Clinton, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama,
probably another
Clinton
Bush
again,
or
Clinton or Bush, right? They're both right.
Either way,
that is a big problem. Like, we need massive
big problem.
Political reform in this country.
You could take anybody at this table.
We have this political monarchy,
and this is where people at home that watch this are going to be blown away, because this is the absolute truth. You take any person at this table. You could take this table. and you could say, okay, we're going to put $1 billion behind, and we're going to have you behind this. We're going to have you run for president, right? What's going to happen is you're going to get a guy who's going to go out, and they're going to find who the people are. First, they're going to find people who can help define the problems. Then they're going to find people who can go out and define solutions for those problems, and then they're going to go out and initiate those solutions. You do not see that. We elect a president. We also elect a cabinet. We don't know who they are until they're elected. Then they reveal who these people are. That's all. One of the national security advisors for President Obama was his speechwriter, who went from college into politics. No national security experience, no operator experience. How is that? How is it that they've been in battle. You've been over in Iraq and Afghanistan. You've fought in every war since World War II. How is it?
Since they were like when
our opinion doesn't matter.
How is it that some guy who graduated college
when Jim served, they lowered the sails on the ships to land the planes?
I'm not a combat veteran, just to be clear on that shit. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you're a SEAL.
Yeah.
So to me, it's all about human greed, right? And politics. If our objective was to be a free country and live like, when I first came in the military, I did what I did. And then my second assignment was over in Europe. And we were laughing because the exchange rate was so favorable to us. The gas was $3.50. They're driving these jelly bean fucking automobiles. And now, what are we doing today, 40 some odd years later? Exact same thing, because these greedy fucking politicians and fundraisers and goddamn,
it's all the behind the scenes that running. We talk about those scandals with the Clinton administration.
The fundraisers that are going on where people are raising money for veterans, they're raising money for all these different things. Let me tell you what happens with these people. They raise a bunch of money by doing these different types of fundraising things where they have dinners, where they have all this stuff. The reality is they're not raising money. They're paying for their dinners. They're paying for their dresses. And by the time the money gets down to the veterans on the ground, there's very little there. And if people really wanted to start making a difference, they would start helping veterans that want to start businesses so they can employ other veterans. That's the most ridiculous thing. The able-bodied veterans don't get any help, and the disabled veterans only get money. We need to give jobs. I don't care if a guy's got no arms and no legs. I can take him and he can teach executives about leadership.
And I think the big thing is, like, veterans don't want handouts. They don't want to be on the entitlement program.
No, but if
these guys are looking for just transition.
If you're going to give a minority a loan for a business, why wouldn't you give that to a veteran who's earned their citizenship? I don't care if they're black, white, used to be a woman, used to be a man, and now they're a woman. If they're a veteran, they deserve to have some type of assistance from the government.
Say the key word today would probably be vetting. If we could sum everything all up, politically, we need to really vet some of these individuals that come into office. We need to vet
all of them.
Yeah.
The fact, the majority of people in Washington right now, you could fire them, which we don't have the ability to fire them. But if you did have the ability, you could fire all of them. You could investigate them, and the majority of them would have felonies now because of what some of the things they've done.
I say that to say this as well, because it's not only politics, it's also with the police departments and stuff like that. You got some of these individuals that come straight out of their mother's basement with no real world experience, and then you're giving them all this authority, this pistol, this badge.
So how that solved is, and I know people, I said this on Sirius Radio the other day, and somebody wrote me on Twitter and said this is akin to slavery, which it's not. Everyone in this country should serve 2 years in the military when they graduate high school.
Hands down.
And then...
Hands down, brother, to that.
Yeah, cheers to
I'm
that.
sorry. Click.
I don't even think the military serve, you can serve in the TSA.
But then
it's like some type of
service.
Some type of service where you have a boss and you're getting fucking put through the fucking goddamn ringer.
And earning your citizenship. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, the Greeks did this. Everybody should be on a lottery list, just like jury duty, but to serve in Congress for 2 years. I mean, you'd be home the majority of the time. That would take the politics out of Congress right there. Get rid of these career politicians. They're not leaders, they're career politicians.
It'd be okay if they all had to depend on Social Security after they retired as well.
Yeah, no.
And start caning people. When you do something like in Singapore, offer them this. Say, you can go to jail for 10 years or you can go to jail for 2 years and you can be caned with 30 lashes. I can guarantee you that guy would get out of jail and never commit that crime again. Yeah. If you can't sit down for 2 weeks, it changes a human being.
So let's think about Memorial Day. Like, you guys, we've all served with people that we respect and a lot of guys we've lost. But is there any particular name that comes to mind? You guys just want to give a mention?
Just real quick, go ahead, Jim. You
No, I was going to say because we talked earlier about how we're family, and we do stay in touch even despite the haters and the jealousy, and we're still a family. We're tethered at the roots of our inception and price of entry. And one of the guys who taught me not the most about combat, but about one of my first firefights, showed me a little survival stuff. Guy's name, he just died last week. His name was George Shambon. He was one of my team sergeants when I was on the pig teams. And, so my hat's off to him. This guy was, he actually got shot in a bar one night because a guy started beating his girlfriend. He stepped in the middle of it, We all are, I think, geared to protect, period. It's in our
Sheepdog.
DNA. Yeah. And so my hat's off to him. He was a Vietnam vet.
Nice, sure.
So to George.
Yeah, to George.